discover together. So these are the primordial follicles with a little oocyte in them, forming egg nests, and you find them out here near the outer border of the cortex. And then this is a secondary. I'm not seeing any primary right now, because what we have, and I make a point when I have time on the lab practical to make sure I'm finding a follicle that's not undergoing atresia, that has a nice oocyte in it, and granulosa cells around it. So let's see if this one indeed is this one. Yeah, this is a really nice secondary follicle with the oocyte in it. So this is the oocyte. We don't happen to see the nucleus in this, but this is the oocyte. This is a zona pellucida. These are the granulosa cells around the oocyte that, when this turns into a mature follicle, will go with it. This that you see between these granulosa cells and these granulosa cells is the follicular fluid that's being excreted by the granulosa cells and is going to become the antrum. So when you start getting this follicular fluid, this is then called a secondary follicle. This is the oocyte, zona pellucida, granulosa cells, and the future antrum. Then more and more fluid is produced, and let's see if I can find a good secondary. I'm trying to find, not great. This is, now we have more fluid produced. I wouldn't ask this on the lab practical because I'm going to get both secondary and tertiary. Because you've got a lot of fluid, and if you saw this whole follicle, I bet there would be a big antrum in it, because you can see it's almost separated from the tissues. But we don't see the whole antrum. So this is the same thing, probably mature follicle. I wouldn't use that. Or if I used it, I would expect to get both secondary and tertiary on there. Let me see on this slide if we've got. Here's another secondary coming into view someplace. This is another secondary. It got a little squished. The antrum, this is the antrum. This is the oocyte with the nucleus. And so this is a secondary, but this one got squished. So not really good for a lab practical. Medulla. Another secondary, more secondary. This looks like a primary coming up. These are secondary because we have fluid. This, on my scope, this one looked like a primary. Is it that one? Yeah. Not, let's see if I can. On my scope, you can actually see that this is the oocyte that's surrounded by cells. It looks better on the scope than it does on this. And then real quickly, let's see. I'm not finding the primordial. Here's another. Oh, here we go. So here we're running across some primary. So the primordial out against the border of the ovary egg nest. These are, if you see through the scope, these are nice primary follicles. There's granulosa cells, but there's no fluid around them. So obviously larger than the primordial follicles, the oocyte has grown in size, and there's granulosa cells around it, forming a primary. It's just not showing up near as well here as it is on my slide. All right, and I'm going to throw another slide on and see if I can find a really good